Hello, Virtual English 4 students, and welcome to 2021, your final semester before you shuffle off and graduate and go on to do bigger and greater things. We all at Portersville High School believe in you and know you can do this. So here's how the semester's going to go. The first month here, we're going to be focusing on speeches. Then after that, we're going to be reading And Then There Were None by Agatha Christie. And then after that, we'll figure it out from there. The last big thing I want us to do is speeches. We would have probably done them back in November, but virtual school kind of put a wrench in those things. So for you virtual students, when it comes to speeches, there's some important things to keep in mind. First off, you need to have somebody record you. You need to be able to see most of your body because I'm going to be grading you on presentation. So the first speech we're going to do, I'm not going to grade you on presentation or anything like that. It's just to kind of knock some rust off, get used to public speaking. But the 3 speeches after that, I'm going to grade you on 2 things: the content of the speech and the presentation of the speech. And there'll be rubrics that kind of walk you through kind of the things I'm looking for each of those. But since presentation is one of the big ones that I'm looking for, I'm going to need you to have someone record you. So instead of you doing it like a selfie, you need to have somebody use the actual cameras and stand at a distance and record you as you are presenting your speech. And the demonstrated speech has a little bit different ones that you could possibly go with, but when we do this one, the personal introduction that you're learning about, and when you do the informative and persuasive essays, or not essays, speeches, then you're going to need somebody that's standing at a distance recording it. All right. You'll upload your recordings here on Google Classroom. If you're a face-to-face student, then I would like you need to get up here and present them face-to-face. But if you are the handful of virtual students, you're going to need to upload it here. If you aren't one of the virtual students, but you are quarantined for a reason, you'll need to upload your video of you presenting your speech here as well, because we're still in that dealing with that. But the first speech you're doing, as I mentioned, is a personal introduction speech. The 4 speeches in total that we're doing are the basic 4 speeches that you would do at an entry-level comp class at any community college or even even university. So the first one is the personal introduction. Then they traditionally go on to the demonstrative, then the informative, and then the persuasive. The personal introduction, it seems redundant to a lot of y'all because most of y'all know everybody. But in order to get to know people in these these college classes, it's usually the first one that is brought up, and it's mainly a participation grade. And I'm going to grade it as a participation grade. If you get to 3 minutes telling me about yourself, you get the 50 points. You have to be speaking the entire 3 minutes. If you stop talking like that, I'm going to pause your time and then resume your time once you start talking again. I'm looking for 3 consecutive minutes of you talking about yourself. Now, how do I go about doing this, you might be asking? Well, I'm glad you asked that, because here you go. So here's how to write a speech introducing yourself. At the very beginning, you're going to state your name very clear at the beginning. Names are important to most people. You do not want them questioning your name in their mind throughout your entire introduction. Saying your first and last name along with any titles you use is sufficient. So you could be like, my name is Paul Davidson, and I am a doctor of thugonomics. Give details about your current situation. Let people know where you're at in life. Include any organizations you belong to, where you live, your occupations, and any projects you have in the works. You may want to mention your spouse and children. I live in a van down by the river. Name all of your accomplishments. Tell about any awards or recognitions you have received, along with any contributions you've made to society. Back in 2018, I was voted best bald spot. Name all of your accomplishments, any awards or recognitions you have received, along with the contributions they made to society. I just said that. Discuss where you're at in your life. Briefly note where you were born and raised. I was born in a truck stop bathroom and raised by wolves. Tell any other details that are interesting that would pertain to the topic the reader might or guests might find relevant. These include a life of poverty, a military life, particular form of education, any other unusual childhood experience. Then you can discuss topics which you care about. These would be world or local issues. What is your life's passion? What are you passionate about in life? My life's passion is to hunt down and kill every single rabbit because they are delicious. Name your personality traits. What do you like to do for fun or relaxation? I like to, for fun and relaxation, to run through the dark woods, in the cold, dark woods at midnight, and then now at the full moon. Describe your life goals. What are you working towards? What do you want to accomplish in life? One day I would like to swim across the Mississippi River and locate Billy Ray Cyrus and get revenge for what he has done to me. Give information that shows how you're similar to the group that is hearing your speech. Tell how you can relate to them. And then you need to reread and analyze your introduction and analyze it if you're hearing or reading about this person that you've never met. So pretend that you've never met yourself and read it and see whether or not how you feel about that person. What type of character do you think this person has from what you've read? You like this person. I've done this. I have written a speech that I will be giving to you as an example of this. Mine is about 3 minutes. I include most of the information. I don't think I included the personal interest or what I care about deeply, but I was hitting my time limit, so I decided that it would be okay to forego that. But I am going to start my timer here as soon as I start reading. And I'm sorry I don't have someone to help record me present this as normal. So I will be doing this, but if you're a virtual doing this, I would like you to have somebody record you doing it. So here is my speech. Good morning, everyone. My name is Paul Bryant Davidson, also known as PBD. Most of you know me as your average run-of-the-mill English teacher at Porterville High School. However, I'm also a play-by-play announcer for Porterville football on Sports Radio KMIS, a senior research technician at the University of Missouri Fisher Delta Research Center, and the co-host of the TDWG podcast with one Scott Norman. That last side hustle doesn't make any dough, though, yet. The beginning of my life was much like most of yours. I grew up in Porterville, Missouri, but was born in Jacksonville, Florida. We moved to Porterville after my parents divorced when I was 4, since Peeville is my mother's hometown. Porterville quickly became the hometown of my 2 sisters and me as well. Each of us attended the local Catholic school, St. Eustatius, before moving on to Porterville High School. While in high school, I joined a variety of clubs, wasted time uptown in Baker's Park, pizza place, and was voted worst driver, played and track. The track thing was for a year, though. After graduating from high school in 2006, I attended Arkansas State for 2 years, majoring in computer science, then computer information technologies, and then geography. Don't change your major a lot, kids. While down in J Boogie, I joined for Sigma Pi Fraternity International, worked at Cracker Barrel, worst job I ever had, and a sandwich shop called Munchies. After realizing I wanted to become a teacher, I transferred from Arkansas State to SEMO, since SEMO has a better teacher ed program. While at SEMO, I buckled down and focused on school while continuing to my foray in sandwich artistry as at Blimpie. In 2011, I finally graduated from college with a bachelor's in social studies education. I could not find a job right out of college, so I did odd jobs here and there while subbing. Finally, one day in 2011, I got an opportunity. North Pim asked me to be their long-term English sub for the rest of their school year. Being unemployed at the time, I jumped at the chance and have been teaching English ever since. After finishing the year out at North Pim, I taught at Campbell for 3 years before finally landing here at Porterville. In 2015, I met my future wife, Michelle, who is a social worker for Missouri's Division of Health and Senior Services. 2 years later, we got in her home state of Illinois in a cool little village/town called Perry de Rocher. This isn't her hometown, though Rocher was just a nice halfway point between Porterville and her hometown. In 2017, I attended the Missouri Teacher Academy, and that resulted in me becoming a nominee for Southeast Missouri Regional Teacher of the Year. Emphasis on nominee because I didn't win it. That fat L I took encouraged me to go back to school and get my master's in English education. In August of 2020, I accomplished that feat, graduating summa cum laude. Going forward, I hope to continue to teach to the best of my abilities here at Porterville, and perhaps even take my talents to the next level and teach in the collegiate ranks. Finally, this past March, we welcomed to this crazy world our first child, Carter. His birth, coinciding with the rise of the pandemic, has made it a fairly interesting first year of parenthood since the air is poison. He's missed out on some normal firsts like Easter, Halloween, etc. But despite the abnormalness of his first year, Carter is still mostly a happy, healthy dude. That's my life in a nutshell so far. Are there any questions? That was 3.5 minutes right there. So yeah, just tell me about your life. That's all I'm looking for. If you get to 3 minutes, you get the 50 points. Next week, whenever we move into demonstrative speeches, I will be looking at it through a little bit more. I'll be tackling it a little bit more rigorously. We'll talk about delivery. We'll talk about practicing of delivery. We'll talk about how to structure that particular speech and all that fun jazz. I'll even give you more, like a bunch of examples that you can watch and emulate for your demonstrative speech. But for the personal introduction, just tell me about yourself in 3 minutes. That's all I got for you this week. Next week, we'll be back with the demonstrative speeches. So until next time, later.